Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirambanachari Jamuna Tirambanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirambanachari Jamuna Tirambanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Praeshwabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we're reading this morning from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Text 49, I believe. Right? Do we have a book? Yes. Okay. All right, very nice to be here today. For those I haven't met, my name is Kalakanatha. I'm visiting from Florida, USA, here in Kanpur for the second time, just to become enlivened. Thank you. Yes, 49. Okay. Again. Okay. Dehendriya prana mano diyam yo Jamapyaya chudbhayatar krichjai Sangsara dharmair avimuyamana Smritya harir bhagavata pradhana Dehindriya prana manodiyam yo Jamapyayak chudbhayatar shakrichjai Sangsara dharma avimudyamana Smritya harir bhagavata pradhana. Please chant. Sansara dharma niyamana Dharma avimuhyamana Smritya harir bhagavata pradhana. Dehendriya prana manodiyam yo Janmapyayak chudbhayatar shakrichjai Samsara dharmaya vimuyamana Smritya harir bhagavata pradhana. Pardon me? Introduction. Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, we are very blessed today. We have the association of His Grace Kalakanatha ji. So brief introduction about some people are new here, which were not there yesterday. So Prabhu is a very senior member of our ISKCON society from Prabhupada times, Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada disciple, and he has served as temple president in various temples, more than 50 plus years. And yesterday Prabhuji gave correction that he was secretary to the GBC, and very exceptional poet. So yesterday, those who were there, you know that Prabhuji has translated almost all of the Bengali songs into English and in the same rhyme, and many other books as well. So we are very fortunate that Prabhuji is there with us, and let's take benefit by very attentively hearing. And please put your phones on silent so that we do not get any disturbance while the class. So let's welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to chant the verse? Dehendriya pranamano yo Shanmapya Shudmaya Shakrichai Samsara Dharma Abhimuyamana Pradhana Indriya Pranamanodiyam yo Shamapya Yakshudmaya Sarpakrichaya Bhagavata Pradhana Indriya Pranamanodiyam yo Samsara Dharma Abhimuyamana Smritya Hare Bhagavata Pradhana. Any of the Matajis like to chant? Indriya Pranamanodiyam yo Shanmapya Yakshudmaya Atarshakrichai Samsara Dharma Upamuyamana Smritya Hare Bhagavata Pradhana. Synonyms, please. Deha, of the body. Indriya, senses. Prana, life air. Manaha, mind. Dhyam, and intelligence. Ya, who? Janma, by birth. Apyaya, diminution. Chut, hunger. Bhaya, fear. Tarsha, thirst. Krichtrai, and the pain of exertion. Sangsara, of material life. Dharmai, by the inseparable features. Aviyamana, excuse me, Avimuyamana, not bewildered. Smritya, because of remembrance. Hare, of Lord Hari. Bhagavata Pradhana, the foremost of devotees. Okay, so before we read the translation, a little context. Maharaj Nimi is talking to Havi, one of the 9 Yogendras, and he has asked him to explain the different levels of Vaishnavas. The beginner, the intermediate, and the advanced. And so he, in the previous 2 verses you've been reading, he described the beginner, the intermediate, and now he's describing in more detail the advanced devotee. So these are the qualities of the Bhagavata Pradhan. Translation. Within the material world, one's material body is always subject to birth and decay. Similarly, the life air, prana, is harassed by hunger and thirst. The mind is always anxious. The intelligence hankers for that which cannot be obtained, and all of the senses are ultimately exhausted by constant struggle in the material nature. A person who is not bewildered by the inevitable miseries of material existence and who remains aloof from them simply by remembering the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be considered Bhagavat Pradhan, the foremost devotee of the Lord. Okay, could I have a volunteer to read purport, please?
According to Srimad, there are three classes of intelligent living beings within this world, namely the demigods, ordinary human beings, and the demons. A living beings endowed with all auspicious qualities, in other words, are highly advanced devotees of the Lord, either on the earth or in the higher planetary system, is called a Deva or demigod. Ordinary human beings generally have good and bad qualities, and according to this mixture, they enjoy and suffer on the earth. But those who are distinguished by their absence of good qualities and who are always inimical to pious life and the devotional service of the Lord are called asuras or demons. Of these three classes, the ordinary human beings and the demons are terribly afflicted by birth, death, and hunger, whereas the godly persons, the demigod, are aloof from such bodily distress. The demigods remain aloof from such distress because they are enjoying the result of their pious activities by the laws of karma. They are unaware of the gross suffering of the material world, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9.20. Travidyamam soma papota papa yagyeristva swargatim prahante te punyam asadhya surendra lokam vasananti divyan divideva bhogan. Those who study the Vedas and drink the som juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planets of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. But the next verse of Bhagavad Gita says that when one uses up the results of these pious activities, one has to forfeit his status as demigod, along with the pleasure of the heavenly kingdoms, and return to the earth as Nara or ordinary human beings. Chine punyamrita loke visanti. In fact, the laws of nature are so subtle that one may not even return to earth as human, but may take birth as an insect or tree, depending on the particular configuration of his karma.
So let me stop for a moment. I just wanted to ask, who is a big celebrity in India? Who? Prabhupada, yes. Prabhupada is more than a celebrity. Come on. Huh? Modi, okay. So does it appear that Modi is aloof from the sufferings of material life? He is enjoying the results of his good karma, therefore the bodily distresses may appear to be aloof. I know in the United States people think the big celebrities are enjoying life on such a high level and therefore aspire, if I could only be rich and famous like this person. And yet behind the facade there is all the same suffering. And even the demigods here is being explained that they may appear to be aloof. Indeed, they are actually aloof from the ordinary sufferings of life. For example, they live very, very long lives without getting old. And as far as reproduction is concerned, they only give birth at the very end of their life. So they never have to deal with teenagers. They just are gone. And so these sorts of delights on the heavenly planets are the goal of materialistic people. If I could just be in a place where I wouldn't suffer. And even, the Gita explains, even if you get there, then you will also suffer. So any celebrity, any big person, they are just the same in this world. And yet our minds are somehow thinking, if we just had this one more facility, or if I could be like this person, then I would actually be happy. Then I would enjoy. All right, let's continue, please.
The pure devotees of the Lord, however, does not experience material misery because he has given up the bodily conception of life and identified himself as correctly as an eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. As stated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.2, Susukham kartum abhayam, even in the stage of regulative practice, The process of Bhakti Yoga is very joyful. Similarly, Lochan Das Thakur, a near contemporary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, said, Save avatara sarasiromani kevale ananda kanda. Although there are various kandas, or the divisions of Vedic disciplines such as Karma Kand, fruit of ceremonies, Gyan Kand, regulative speculation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Harinam Sankirtan movement is Kevala Ananda Kand, the pathway of pure bliss. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, eating the remnants of sumptuous food offered to the Supreme Lord, and hearing the enchanting pastimes of the personality of Godhead, one merges into an ocean of bliss called Krishna consciousness.
Haribol. 50 years ago this month, I had the good fortune to see Srila Prabhupada in Atlanta, Georgia. And at that time, the deities in the temple were only Gaur-Nitai. Gaur-Nitai were the initial deities in all of our temples before Radha and Krishna would be installed. So when Srila Prabhupada came to visit, he was very taken by these beautiful deities, and he wanted to sing this bhajan by Lochan Das Thakur. Parama Karuna Pahundwijana Nitai Gora Chandra. But none of the devotees, none of us knew the words. We were very new. And so Srila Prabhupada stopped and he asked the temple president, tomorrow bring all the words and make sure everybody has. So the next day we had our pages. There were no cell phones in those days. We had what we called printed paper. So anyway, and we all had our pages, and Prabhupada indicated one of the devotees could sing. So he began singing, but a different melody. Parama Karuna Pahundwijana Nitai Gora Chandra. And Prabhupada stopped. He said, I will sing. So then he began singing. Parama Karuna Pahundwijana Nitai Gora Chandra. Nobody knew how to play the mridanga to a 3/4 beat like that. So again he stopped. He said, okay, I will play the mridanga. So in those days, mridangas were very scarce. The only mridangas that existed were fragile clay mridangas from Navadvip. They break very, very easily. If you were going to bring one back on this 24-hour or 36-hour trip to the United States on an airplane, you would either keep it in your lap or even get another seat for it. They break very easily. And then if you managed to get one back and you had one, you did not loan that mridanga to anybody. You just slept next to it. You kept it on during japa. You kept it on during kirtan, every kirtan. So when Prabhupada asked for a mridanga, everyone in the room turned to this one brahmachari in the back who had his mridanga. And everyone was looking at him and he then he understood Srila Prabhupada wanted the mridanga. And so then we all were able to sing and this beautiful mantra, beautiful bhajan. It's Parama Karuna, the most merciful, Pahundwijana, the two lords, Nitai Gora Chandra, Saba Avatar are the essence of all incarnations, Sarashiromani, and they are the jewels amongst the avatars. Kevala, why? Because Kevala Ananda Kanda, the path that they show is pure bliss. Kevala means only, exclusively, huh? So Ananda Kanda, nothing but bliss. We were talking about the demigods avoiding material miseries or celebrities, but the path of bhakti is actually the means to rise above these miseries. We cannot avoid them so long as we have the material body, but we can transcend them. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Fortunately, this blissful ocean is the eternal situation of every living entity, provided he give up all his bogus conception of life. One should not identify himself as a gross material body, nor a fickle mind, nor a speculative intelligence, nor should one foolishly identify himself with a so-called void of Buddhist imagination, nor should one even identify himself with an ocean of impersonal spiritual life called the Brahma Jyoti, which illuminates the great outdoors of the spiritual sky beyond the covered universe. One should rather identify himself correctly as an eternal individual servant of the Supreme Individual Personality of Godhead. By this simple admission of one's constitutional position and by the sincere engagement in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, one is quickly promoted to the direct participation in the eternal pastimes of Krishna, just as Arjuna got the opportunity to play with Krishna as the soldiers on the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Jai. So the enjoyment or the pleasure of the impersonal realization is compared to the water in the hoof print of a calf, just inconsequential, compared to the ocean of bliss in bhakti. And this is because that is our constitutional position to be Krishna's servant. Jivara Swarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. We all have this unique way of pleasing Krishna. Self-realization means to find out what is that unique way of pleasing Krishna. If you were Krishna, do you think you might do something like that? Expand yourself in countless living entities, each one designed to bring you pleasure in a unique way. Shishi Gaurnitai ki jai, Shishi Radhamadava ki jai. You see what I mean? Krishna expands himself in countless living entities who are each empowered in a different way to bring pleasure to Krishna. What an amazing thing to do. So our tiny little role as Krishna's servant is to find out how it is that we will bring pleasure to Krishna. And we may not know in the course of our lives. It may take many years to find out exactly what it is. In Mayapur last week, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu was giving a wonderful class on Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance day, yes. And so he was explaining how on the very first meeting, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gave this instruction to Srila Prabhupada. You speak English, go teach Krishna consciousness in the English-speaking world. And then later, many years later, after he was initiated, his last letter he received from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said the same thing. You speak Krishna consciousness presented in English, that will do good for you and for your audience. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada had a very specific instruction from his guru. So I asked Vaisheshika Prabhu, what if a devotee does not have a very specific instruction from his guru, except to chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles? And he gave a very nice answer. He said, that devotee is very fortunate. So everybody laughed, like, good, I don't have any specific duty. But then he elaborated, that devotee is fortunate to have this order of chanting 16 rounds and following the 4 regulative principles. That in and of itself is a worshipable order and a tall order to accomplish throughout the course of one's life. On the one hand, you could be spending that hour and a half or 2 or 2.5 hours chanting japa every day. You could be spending that making money. How much money would you earn over the course of your lifetime if you worked an extra 2 hours every day? Be lakhs and lakhs, maybe crores, right? And yet, on the other hand, if you follow the 4 regulative principles, you save so much money. My wife and I once calculated by following the 4 regulative principles for 50 years, we had saved 1 crore of rupees. So financially it balances out. But spiritually, it is a glorious thing to do that. Just to do that leaves us eligible for getting Krishna's guidance. And what does then Vaisheshika Prabhu is saying? And what does Krishna say? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam jena mamupayanti te. Krishna within the heart will reveal to us, because we're remaining in this position of devotion, he will reveal to us exactly that special way we can please him. So this is the path of self-realization, realizing our true self as eternal servants of Krishna, and exactly how it is that we will please him. Any questions on that much? Okay. Yes, Pavan?
Prabhuji, as you told ki how Krishna is manifesting himself in the many living entities so that they can give pleasure to him. And our goal of life also, or eventually we'll come to know how we can give pleasure to Krishna. So that is so. But one question keeps on ringing in the mind. So, is the Krishna is not satisfied that he is creating many living entities so that he can become happy and satisfied?
Yes, Krishna is very dissatisfied. He is saying, where is that pavan? Krishna is always Sat Chit Ananda, eternally full of bliss and knowledge. So he knows everything. And he is only anxious for our reciprocation and our affection. Anxious not in that he is unhappy without it. He's anxious in that he sees we are unhappy without it. And as any father or mother will see their son or daughter unhappy, they will feel anxious. They will feel concerned. What can I do to help my beloved child? So Krishna feels like that. It does not, however, interfere with his enjoyment. I have children, and when they grew up and moved out of the house, I was still concerned about them, but not as much as before. And it was not difficult to be happy without them. And yet, if they were unhappy or something was wrong, I would always want to help them, whatever way I could. See? So in a little way, as a parent, I have experienced what is being described. Krishna's position is always blissful. He is capable of being happy and unhappy at the same time. He is not limited in any way. He can be fully, blissfully engaged, and yet he can be concerned about his parts and parcels at the same time. He is existing sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto, in everyone's heart, ready to give knowledge, giving the hints how we can be happy. So, yes, we should not think about Krishna. Once a devotee painted a picture of Krishna with a very sad look on his face. And Srila Prabhupada said, "What is that?" And he said, "Prabhupada, it is Krishna feeling separation from Radharani." And Prabhupada said, no. And he wanted them to just throw away the painting. But then later he said, wait, this can be a picture of Krishna when he had a headache. Wanting the dust from his devotees' feet to cure his headache. So, Krishna is capable of any sort of feeling. But he does care, and he does have that feeling for us, which is amazing, huh? Considering how many living entities there are. I mean, just in our body alone, there are 10 trillion or 100 trillion living entities. Just in our body alone. And then there are so many people, and there's so many different species just on this one planet. And this one planet is just one solar system around one star. And there are more stars in the universe, according to science, than there are grains of sand on Earth. In fact, for every grain of sand, they say there are, 100 million stars for every grain of sand. So the scope and opulence of Krishna is far beyond our capacity to imagine, and yet he cares for each and every living entity. As the Paramatma, he is in the heart trying to help. Is that all right? Okay, so what else? Yes, Prabhuji. Microphone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned spiritual realization means to find our all unique way to serve Krishna. But how this can be the unique way, Prabhuji? Because we hear in Srimad Bhagvatam there are certain verses which mention that Krishna will be satisfied by this, by Nam Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva. So it looks like there are some fixed ways to serve Krishna and please him.
Yes, there are fixed ways to serve Krishna and please him. Yes, absolutely. And beyond that, there is our individual expression. And which one of those processes do we take in a particular inclination towards, right? Maharaj Ambarish is praised because he did all of the processes, all of the 9 processes. But we will be drawn to some particular types of service as we grow up in Krishna consciousness. And those inclinations, those attractions are Krishna's way of guiding us. But we have to always verify externally. We have to ask the spiritual master, we have to ask the Vaishnavas, we have to consult scripture to see, is this actually a genuine way for me to please Krishna? This is the whole purpose of the ashram, isn't it? The student lives in the ashram of the spiritual master, so the spiritual master can get to understand the nature and inclination of the student, and then recommend a particular varna and ashram for that individual. So it is again simultaneously one and different. We are simultaneously all doing the same thing, and yet we are all individuals in how we do it, right? In the Gauranga Prabhu was talking about meeting an executive from, I think, Citibank. And this executive had visited a number of temples, ISKCON temples. And he said, after visiting these temples, I am convinced ISKCON is better managed than Citibank. And Gauranga Prabhu said, what? When do you go? He said, everywhere I go, I'm in Sydney, I'm in London, I'm in Delhi, everywhere I go to the ISKCON temple, every day there's Mangal Arati starting at 4:30. It is so well managed. And Gauranga Prabhu said, you have to stay until 5 o'clock, then the Leela begins. Yes, we have full variety. We look homogeneous. Devotees look to be very much the same to the materialist. We chant the same mantra. We eat the same prasadam. We sing the same bhajans. We say the same jargon, Hari Bol. In fact, Hari Bol is so versatile, you can use it for several different meanings, right? You greet somebody, say Hari Bol. You're leaving somebody, Hari Bol. Somebody pleases you, you say, ha, Hari Bol. Somebody upsets you, you say, Hari Bol. Everybody thinks we're very much the same, but then when you enter the Leela and the pastimes of the association of devotees, you say, oh no, everybody is very different. Right? So yes, it's just a matter of time, though. This is the challenge. Can we remain patient enough to do the regular things that devotees do until that time when our unique inclinations start to manifest? That takes patience. Utsahan nischayat dharyat, to tat karma pravartana. We have to be enthusiastic for devotional service and yet patient. Those things appear to be on different ends of the spectrum, right? If you're enthusiastic, you want to do it right away. If you're patient, you can wait. But both things are there in successful bhakti. Why? Because nischaya, there's determination. There is determination to remain and stay the course no matter what. So this is how the advanced devotee is described in these paragraphs, as being aloof or above the distresses of material life, because there is that determination and that conviction, so we can remain enthusiastic while we are awaiting Krishna to reveal to us our particular seva. This is also explained by Lord Brahma in Canto 10 of the Srimad Bhagvatam, right? Tatenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjatvat nevat. Can anyone say? Jivete se mukti pade sadayabhak. Yes. So this verse, tatenu kampam susamikshamano, this means that one who undergoes suffering in devotional service sees three things as a result. First of all, this suffering is caused by my own past mistakes. If we can't think of something specifically in this lifetime, we can understand that somewhere along the line in the past we thought, wow, I wonder what it would be like to be Krishna. We are in the spiritual world enjoying our service to Krishna. Everybody's on the same page, just like you're all dancing this morning so nicely. very simultaneously chanting and dancing together. It was beautiful. But then we thought, wow, what would it be like to be Krishna? And then Krishna, being very benevolent, fulfills our desires. He sends us to Kanpur, and we get an idea. What is it like to try to be Krishna? And we find out it is not possible, because we are not Krishna. We are Krishna's parts and parcels. We're his servants. We're meant to serve him. That's why we exist. So that mistake, if nothing else, we can take responsibility for. This suffering is my responsibility. It's not caused by any other source. Later, in the 11th canto, later on, we read about the Avanti Brahmin. It's a beautiful story about the Avanti Brahmin. He was a very influential and wealthy man in the village, and he was also very arrogant and proud. And so nobody liked him, but they had to give him respect because of his position, his wealth, and his birth. Then somehow or other, he lost his money, his family rejected him, and all of a sudden he was a beggar on the street, same man. So all the people in the village were very happy to see this misfortune coming to this arrogant man. And so they mistreated him in so many ways. He would have his begging pot. If somebody put something in it, someone else would come along and steal it. Or they would steal his pot. Or they would spit on him. Or they would urinate on him. And this way they were harassing him and making his life miserable. But in the course of losing everything, somehow this Avanti Brahmin became enlightened, deeply enlightened, truly enlightened. And as a result, when he was experiencing all of these miseries, he had this brilliant reflection. Are these miseries caused by these people? No. Are they caused by the demigods? No. Are they caused by the stars astrologically? No. Are they caused by my own karma? No. The only cause of the misery I feel is what? My mind, the way I am interpreting them. My mind is interpreting these events in a negative way. As a result, I am perceiving these things to be misfortune or miseries. Okay? So, in the same way, Vyasadeva described, what is that verse? Lokasya janato vidvan. What's that? How does it begin? No. Anartha pasanam sakshat. Thank you, yes. Anartha, the superficial miseries of this life. Anartha pasanam sakshat. Bhakti yoga marhoksuje. They are superficial to the soul, to the self-realized soul. They are superficial. Like we see Bhakti Siddhanta, Srila Prabhupada on the altar. This is what a self-realized soul looks like, undisturbed, right? And lokasya janato vidvan. The mass of people don't know this. Therefore, we have Srimad Bhagvatam by the grace of Vyasadeva. Right? Okay, so finding out our dharma, our ways of pleasing Krishna, just takes that time. It just takes time, and that's one of the beautiful things about growing old in Krishna consciousness, that the ordinary preoccupations of old people are already kind of pre-digested by the devotee. It is fascinating to see, perhaps you've experienced this, how old people can sit and talk about their physical condition for hours upon hour. Have you ever noticed this? Yes. And young people think, don't they have anything better to talk about? And then the young people become old people and they say, oh, you wouldn't believe what I'm going through. So we are prepared for this inevitability in Krishna consciousness. And therefore when it comes, even when we are leaving this body, there is no surprise. Some healthcare workers in the United States were commenting that these devotees, where I live in Alachua is a large community, about 1,000 devotees, and so naturally some of the elders go in and they're cared for and then they leave. So the healthcare workers were noticing how, first of all, when these people come in, they're not anxious. These devotees come in, they're calm. And then when all the people come to see them, they're Haribo! They're kind of celebrating. And they say, we never see this. We never see this when people are leaving their bodies, when they're dying. They're anxious, their family members are distraught, and there's no sense of joy, just sorrow. So the devotees are prepared. And so as a result, we can live our lives without this anxiety hanging over our head. Just like if you're in school and you have an examination on Monday, and it's Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, I'm through with classes. Monday, that exam, I'll worry about that later. Let me enjoy. It's Friday night, Saturday night. But the whole time you're trying to enjoy on Friday and Saturday, you know, okay, I've got to get ready for that test on Monday. But suppose you had the presence of mind, Friday afternoon, I'm going to study for that test and be prepared now. Then the whole weekend you can enjoy because you are prepared. So in the same way, we're prepared for the inevitabilities of life. We're prepared. We have Bhagvatam class every day just to drive it in our head. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. This is the intelligent, learned person can see that these things are coming. And so as devotees, we're really good. We're good at two things. We're good at cooking and dying. We're extraordinarily proficient in these two paths. Hopefully they are not connected with one another. Okay, we have the good cook. And Krishna says in the Gita that even at the hour of death, one is not disturbed. Excuse me, who has come to his service. So, any other, thank you. I hope that's all right. Yeah, we will find our unique way, even amidst the apparent consistency of practice. All right, we could read a little more, or any more questions? We have a few more minutes. Yes, Prabhuji. Oh. Over there, in the Hindi side, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Just wanted to confirm, Prabhuji, you said that if you follow 4 regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, gradually you will become self-realized as to what service you have to do. Very specific service which you have to do, right?
Yes.
That's all?
Yes, that's all. Yeah, well, it's very important because we have some eternal relationship with Krishna, some eternal service with Krishna. Yes, and we don't have to worry about finding it prematurely. This is when we get on the mental platform. Oh, I really want to go open a center for Krishna, or I really want to go, when I was a brahmachari, I thought, I really want to go distribute books in Japan. Japan, I've never been in Japan, but I thought, let me go somewhere. It'd be fun to go to Japan. Fortunately, my mentor said, no, you don't have to. You'd have to spend 10 years learning the language. There was a devotee who somehow became convinced that his Siddhadeya was to be a peacock in Vrindavan. And so he would go in his room and be, practice. When Srila Prabhupada heard about this, he just said, what is this nonsense? See? We have to be willing to be in the humble position of taking whatever service Krishna sends. And when we are able to take whatever Krishna sends, then we're able to progress towards finding our unique special service. Okay. Somebody here had a question? Yes, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, this specific way we serve Krishna is our Swarupa, right? I have heard that how this Swarupa also changes, as per the desire of the Jiva. The Swarupa can also change. So like how these two things are like...
That's a very advanced stage when we might change that service because that will be a manifestation of Krishna acting through us. Even that we have some unique service to perform does not mean that is the only service that we may do, or that we may do that particular service eternally. See, like Uddhava, after visiting Vrindavan, prayed, Krishna, let me please just be born as a blade of grass outside of the precincts. And Brahma prayed in a similar way. So maybe the cowherd boys would come and step on me. See, but does that mean that that's their eternal position? Maybe, maybe not. The point is, whatever service we have in our eternal relationship with Krishna is fully satisfying. It's not that the residents of Vrindavan are envying the residents of Mathura or vice versa. They may speak like this from time to time. Or the cows are envious of the humans or vice versa. Everybody is fully content in their service. And to that extent that we feel that way in our present life in the temple, or in our devotional lives, to that extent we are experiencing the spiritual world. If we are given some service for Krishna, let us very happily take that, whatever it might be. However Krishna wants us to serve right now, let us be very happy with that. And if we see somebody else doing better service or more successful or remarkable service, then let us be in the mood of appreciating, oh, this person is serving Krishna very nicely. And not in the mood of being envious, like feeling like, oh, now I have to do more. In a sense, that's good. That Prabhupada called that transcendental competition. But if it's competition in the mode of passion, that's not good. If it's competition in the mode of devotion, then it's very good. This person's inspiring me to do more. And that by my service, I'll inspire that person to do more. In this way, we bodhiyanta parasparam katayatascha nityam. Talking about Krishna, serving together, we all become inspired. Especially men, we have a lot of false ego issues. Right? We become jealous, competitive, like that. So these are just a manifestation of the miseries of material life. If we're feeling jealous, are we feeling blissful? No. See? So much of bhakti means just to learn how to deal with these feelings when they come up. All kinds of feelings will come up. We were talking about this last night. We were chanting japa, right? All sorts of things will come to our mind that are not consistent with our values of devotion. In fact, there's a very nice paragraph here at the end of the purport. I want to skip ahead a little bit and just read this last section. Let's see, the very last paragraph. Could I have a volunteer to read the last paragraph, starting with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gives the example? Can we scroll to that? Got it? I'll just read. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gives the example that just as a child's ball may be fastened to the end of a rope so that it cannot bounce away, a devotee who surrenders to Krishna becomes tied to the rope of Vedic injunctions and is never lost in worldly affairs. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has quoted from the Rig Veda, O Vishnu, your name is completely transcendental. Thus it is self-manifest. Indeed, even without properly understanding the glories of chanting your holy name, if we vibrate your name with at least a small understanding of its glories, that is, if we simply repeat the syllables of your holy name, gradually we shall understand it. The supreme entity indicated by the pranava Om is Sat, or self-revealing. Therefore, even if one is disturbed by fear or envy, the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will become manifest to one who continues to chant the Lord's holy name. See, Sat, self-manifesting. Further evidence is given in Srimad Bhagvatam. Quote, one who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. I was making the point about how we deal with suffering, and I got sidetracked there. But first, we accept it's our responsibility. Second is what? What do we continue doing? We continue chanting. We continue our service, even through the suffering. And then finally, we accept responsibility, we continue our service, and what are we expecting? Krishna's mercy. Krishna will be kind to me. We always expect Krishna's mercy. Even though I'm suffering now, and I'm not going to stop my chanting. So any agitation in the mind during chanting, that's suffering. That is suffering. Whatever flavor it may be in, it's suffering. Because we cannot fix our mind on the Lord. And so whatever it is, we just keep chanting, even neglectfully. The absolute truth is self-manifest. We cannot attain Krishna by chanting so perfectly. See, he's never obliged to appear. What we can do is reveal our mind to Krishna. If the mind is agitated, let us direct it towards Krishna. Krishna, here I am chanting your holy name, and I'm feeling envious of this person. Krishna, here I am, such a fool, I'm chanting your holy name, and I'm feeling attracted to this material thing. Such a fool. I have the holy name, the greatest treasure, but my mind is thinking about something horrible or mundane. Right? So in this way, we just present ourselves to Krishna as we are. We don't have to make a facade to Krishna. We can't build our relationship with Krishna if we're always putting on an act. My dear friend Jadwaita Maharaj was once at the train station and buying a ticket, and the lady at the counter looked at his dhoti and Sika in New York. Who are you? He said, I'm a Hare Krishna. And she said, oh, Hare Krishna, I like you people. You are who you pretend to be. So let us be who we pretend to be. Even we're acting like devotees, and that's good enough. Krishna is not expecting us to be perfect right away. All right. So, any other questions? Krishna is not expecting us to be perfect, just honest. We're just honest with Krishna, then our eternal Dharma will be revealed. All right, thank you very much. So good to see you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.